Hi guys, it's Kelly Lativola here, and I am back with another video for Neat and Tangled. Today we're actually going to be making a card set. So I picked out a couple of the 3x4 sets. I'm using Magical Day, S'more Fun, Merry Kisses, and Bunny Slopes, and then all of their matching dies as well. So I just basically I thought it would be fun to do a card set. I'm going to use a bunch of different stencils too. The first one is the Radiating Star. This one's the polygon one, and I showed it to you, but I didn't actually end up using it. Dimensional triangles. What is this one? Geometric circles. And then rice patties, which is by far and away my favorite stencil ever from any company ever. I love that stencil. You can use it for water, you can use it for wind, you can use it just as a general, like interesting background. I really like that one. But anywho, I'm doing all of them the same way because I want them to be a set, so I want them to match. I'm using regular Distress ink in Salty Ocean, and I don't like the stark contrast of a stencil on white. That's just my own personal opinion, but you do whatever works for you. I am putting down a very light layer of the Salty Ocean, putting my stencil on, and then going over with a darker layer. So it's going to be a more subtle pattern. If you do the contrasting on white, it will definitely be more apparent. And like I said, this is just going to be whatever your personal preference is. And for mine, I'm keeping them mostly just in one area. I'm not completely covering the whole card because, again, my style is more clean and simple. So for each different card, I'm putting the stenciled area in a different spot. And I paired them together. Like I picked my stamp set and where that was going to go based on how the stamp set looked. So for the one that you saw me do first, that one's going to be for the unicorn from the Magical Day because that unicorn faces left. For this one here with the dimensional triangles, that's going to be my S'more Fun. This one I'm coming in from the left-hand side because the little bunny from the Bunny Slope set faces right. When you're putting together a card, you don't want, like I wouldn't want my unicorn facing the other direction, like he was looking off the card or the bunny looking off the card, because it's just not going to be fluid. It's not going to be towards the sentiment. It's not going to, like, the layout's just going to look kind of off. So that last one was for the bunny slopes, and then this one is for the foxes from the Mormon, or from the Merry Kisses. I just thought it would be super cute to have something like kind of radiating out from behind them, and I'm doing this one on the center bottom. Yeah, so just I like when I make card sets, I like to do them kind of like assembly line style, I guess would be it. Like whatever the thing is I'm doing, I do all of that thing. So like I'm going to do all of my backgrounds at one time and be done with that. Speaking of, you might notice I'm not holding my stencils down with anything, and it's because I use Tombow Mono Multi-Glue on the back of all my stencils. It dries repositionable. I really only ever have to do it once. And then once it's on there, it's on there. And then people have asked me how I store them after that. I just stick them to the backer that they originally came with and then pull it off as I need it. But sometimes what happens is it can leave, especially the first time you use it, it can leave like little pieces of glue behind. I just use a white eraser to erase those. Don't use your finger because you naturally have dirt, oils, things like that, and you'll get that on your card. Use an eraser to get rid of it, and I've never had an issue. In order to kind of break up the pattern and make the backgrounds more interesting and shiny, because you know I love that glimmer, I sprinkled on just some clean white water. What? Clean water. And then I went in with the shimmer spray from Hero Arts, which is the white iridescent shimmer, and I just used the tubing to just kind of splatter that on. Some of you might be wondering why I'm not using Perfect Pearls, and I will tell you, there's been a tragedy that has occurred in my home. I've lost it. I took it with me when I went to teach for Neat and Tangled in Delaware, and I don't know what happened to it on the return trip. I'm sure it made it back into this house somewhere. I'm just not sure where that somewhere is, and I have been looking for it, but I've been unable to locate it. So the Hero Art Shimmer Spray, W+9 Shimmer Spray, like all of those are totally acceptable alternates to that. You'll still get the same kind of look. I just like the Perfect Pearls because honestly it lasts longer. So yeah, I've always just used that. I'm stamping these out. Everything, by the way, is on Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock. So I'm stamping everything out so that I can get into the coloring. At this point, if you didn't notice when you started this video, it's a long one. Girl, it's a long one. There's just so much coloring, and I wanted to be able to show you guys how I did everything. So feel free to kind of skip around if you are looking, because I know a lot of times when I buy an image, if I'm not sure how to color it, I might go looking for a video or something where someone did color it. I tried to keep that in mind when I was doing the coloring, so I colored each individual, so like the bunny, I colored it in its entirety before I moved on to the foxes. So you should be able to skip around if there's one that you're specifically looking for. Another thing to note, if you are watching this during December of 2018, Neat and Tangled is doing these December deals, which is awesome. And one of them is for the stencils. That happens to be going on right now. It will be over December 23rd at midnight. So basically you got today and tomorrow to buy stencils if you want to, and they are buy two, get one free. So you can, the blog will be linked below. You can head over there and check that out if you're interested in picking up some new stencils. So yeah, so the coloring, I wanted my little bunny to be white. So I'm coloring just the shadow areas, and right now it's going to look really, really dark, really, really, really dark. Trust me, just try. This is a trust me moment. The reason that it looks so dark is because there's no other color on there. There's nothing to compare it to. It's stark white versus gray. But once we start adding color to his outfit, and especially putting him on the background, he really will look white. I promise you. So what's been going on in my life? It is the Christmas season. So things have been crazy with the shopping. But we do, so we do this thing called Shop with a Cop at my job. And I've always done it. Every year I've always gone. You volunteer your time. It's not like we get paid for it. And pretty much as the officers go throughout the year, they may come across a family that needs a little bit of help at Christmas time. They have children, and a lot of times, like when we take them shopping, we're looking for things that are basic needs: pajamas, tennis shoes, winter coats. But then we also try to make sure that they get something fun. So the whole it's a whole big deal, and it's really kind of awesome that so many people volunteer their time to go. But we pick them up in the cruiser, and then, let them play with the lights or sirens or whatever they want to do. And then we drive them out to the FOP Lodge where they have breakfast. It's donuts this year. This year we had Chick-fil-A sandwiches. You ever have a chicken and biscuit from Chick-fil-A? If you have not, do it. It will change your life. It is so good. So we had Chick-fil-A and whatever, so they go in there, and then they have breakfast. We take some photos. They got like a Christmas tree up, and it's all decorated, and it's super cool. We load the kids back up in the car, and we take them to Walmart and just unleash probably, it's like 50 police officers and 100 kids just on this poor Walmart. So these kids can pick out what they need. Now, usually the kids just come by themselves. Like, we just take the kids and they have a list. And so, you're going through trying to find sizes and this and that. And then sometimes their parents come with them if there are extenuating circumstances. They're a special needs child, or if they're a particularly shy child. Usually they warm up by the end of it, even if they're shy kids. But so then we unleash on Walmart. We buy them everything that we could possibly find. We take them back to the FOP Lodge, where they do like pizza and cookies and things like that. And then they also have wrapping stations. So if and a lot of these kids do buy for somebody else, if they spend the money on, their parents or grandparents or siblings, they can wrap those gifts. Or if mom and dad have specifically told us that their gifts should be wrapped, even the ones that they picked out for themselves should be wrapped for them to open on Christmas. So they have that. 2 years ago, they had face painting, and the kids really loved it. They all had their faces painted. Now, one of the multitude of things that I do is face painting, but I've only ever really done it for charity. Like, I'm not working kids' birthday parties or anything, but if there is something that comes up, this is a couple years ago, which is how I got into doing it. We had what was it? It was a fundraiser, and it was for veterans mobility. So basically making sure that these veterans ended up with a way to, whichever that is, whether it's, wheelchair, or if they're an amputee, anything like that, whatever they need to help them get around. And so they were doing this whole like kids theme, and one of the guys that I was talking to was like, hey, do you think you could do face painting? And I was like, never done it, but I could try. And then it was super fun, and the kids were awesome. And so then kind of from there, I've just, done that if it was necessary. So this year at Shop with a Cop, the guy on our side who runs it was like, hey, the girl who did the face painting isn't going to be able to do it. Would you be willing to? And I was like, yeah, it's no problem. Wow. So many kids, guys. So many children. The Grinch was far and away the most popular face painting. I had like a little Frozen thing some of the girls picked. There was like an ornament one. And then I found that like printing out a picture, because if you just ask them what they want, they come up with like crazy, like, paint me like Deadpool. What? No, I don't know how to do that. So printing out like some sort of picture for them to look at and then make a choice from what's there, like things I know that are in my capability, seems to work much better. But the Grinch was the huge hit this year. There were so many Grinch faces. The nice thing is though, like the more you do it, the faster you get at it. So once I knocked out a couple of Grinches, like we were off to the races, but we were still one of the last people to leave the FOP lodge because I had this line of kids, which was, it really was, it was a lot, but it was kind of awesome. I'm glad that they, had something that they could kind of take away with them besides just their toys. So we did that. That's like our normal, regular, everyday Shop at the Cop. And then the family actually that we took, it's tragic. They lived in Puerto Rico, and they lost everything in the hurricane. Then they moved, where did they move? The East Coast, I think. I think they moved to North Carolina. And then like 2 years later, again, they lost everything in a hurricane. I mean, can you even imagine? And so finally they moved to Ohio. I'm fairly sure with them here, we're going to end up with like a crazy tornado or something, because clearly these people have terrible luck. But they had 3 kids. They had like an 8-year-old, no, maybe he was 6, like a 6-year-old boy, a 4-year-old girl, and then they had a baby. She was like maybe 3 months old. So they were, that was, super fun to be able to take them and help them out. About 2 weeks ago, I got a call from this woman who works for a school for the deaf that's not in our city, but it's in the city next door. And she was like, listen, I've been calling around because I have this little girl who she's just been having a really hard time, and she could just use a win. And I was trying to get her into a Shop with a Cop program. And I was like, we've already done ours. She was like, I know everybody has, but somebody had told me that maybe you might be able to help me out. So we have this program, which is what our youth group is through, and, the Coffee with a Cop, which is for our senior citizens, called Police and Citizens Together. And it's community policing is basically what it is. And so I thought, well, maybe we would be able to help her out through that. So I went and talked to my chief. He was like, yeah, whatever you need. And I was like, I need a cruiser and a cop and like money to buy this girl gifts. And he was like, yeah, we're on it. Our chief is amazing. So we did end up taking her and her grandma. We took them shopping. Same thing. We tried to make it as similar as we possibly could to the original Shop with a Cop. She is deaf. She has some facial deformities. She has no ears. She was very sweet. She was 6 years old. Once she started to warm up, she was a little bit shy. Just very tiny little girl. And she was all about these LOL dolls, which the little girl that we took the first time around was also all about these LOL dolls. I don't know what they are, but they seem to come in like these capsules, which seems very strange to me, because you can't even see what you're getting. Like, you just buy the capsule and then surprise when you get home. I'm not really sure. But they are like all the rage. because we were late getting this little one to Walmart, we had a hard time finding the dolls, and I was starting to get nervous we weren't going to be able to make that happen for her. But finally, with some assistance of a wonderful Walmart worker, we were able to locate an LOL doll for her. And I sincerely hope on Christmas when she opens up her little capsule, it's whatever she wants it to be, because I don't understand what's in there. That's the honest truth. I really, like, when I was growing up, it was like Barbies, you know what I mean? Like, and all the Barbies were essentially the same outside of what their outfits were. And you could get all the accessories, like the Barbie dream house and convertible and all those things. But those don't seem to be as popular anymore. I don't know. I have a boy. I don't have a girl. So I don't know how popular Barbies are anymore. I know they have, like, the girl we took 2 years ago was super into, like, Monster High dolls. But even them, you could see them. These little capsule dolls, I don't understand what that is. Like, how are you just going to buy something you don't even know what it is? I guess maybe the surprise is part of the allure. I'm not really sure. So, anywho, we took her shopping. And then, for Christmas, they have Peanut's school does a bunch of different things all year long. Like when they're learning their colors, like Wednesday will be, pink shirt day. That was super fun, by the way, to try to find a pink shirt for a 5-year-old boy. Yeah, that was amazing. But so they have like different things that they do. Well, they had Christmas Spirit Week. So one day was Ugly Sweater Day. One day was Christmas socks, like things like that. By the way, when I picked out his ugly sweater, he was like, "That's not ugly, Mom." And I was like, "Look with your eyes, child. This is not an attractive sweater." But he loved it. So anyway, so one of the days was dress up as your favorite Christmas character. And my child is a very shy child. He doesn't like, it's one of the things that helps me out when we're out in public and I tell him no, he can't have anything, because he's so shy, like he won't make a scene about it. I mean, when we're behind closed doors, completely different scenario. But he's very, very shy. So his dad had sent me a text message and was like, "Hey, for his character day, he wants to wear his ugly sweater and have you paint his face like the Grinch." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I was shocked because he is so shy that he would even want to go in, with something like that. Side note, you can see when I did this scarf here, I should have done the white stripes first before the blue, because your lighter markers, like the C1, can pick up other colors and kind of carry it. Thankfully, it's just blue, so it's not really a big deal. But if this had been a red, a pink, an orange, like the risk would have been real. So do all your whites first. Anyway, so he wanted his face painted like the Grinch, and I was really surprised. So then the next morning, when he came to my house, he comes to my house in the morning, and then I take him to school. I was like, "Okay, you want to, paint your face?" And he was like, "No, I changed my mind." This was not surprising. So I'm like, "Okay, well, here's your, Christmas sweater or whatever." And then he comes out of the bedroom. He's got a completely different shirt on. And he's like, "Okay, I want to paint my face." And I'm like, "Well, you kind of don't. Like, your shirt says you're invincible and it's gray. It's not very Christmassy. It's not going to make a lot of sense. Like, let's see if we can find a green shirt." Ultimately, he did end up wearing what he originally wanted. And he let me paint his face, which... I will share, if you follow me on Instagram, I shared it there, and on my personal Facebook, but I'll put it on my blog. So if you're watching on YouTube, I will link my blog below, so you can see it, because he looked super cute. So I painted his face like the Grinch. We had to do it in the bathroom so he could watch me do it. I have found that doing the face painting, if you have a mirror where they can watch, they sit still a whole heck of a lot better. So we did paint his face, and then when we were walking into school, like all, the teachers, hall monitors, crossing guards, like everybody was making, comments about it, and he just had this grin on his face, like from ear to ear, that it was such a positive response. So I'm really glad that he took the risk. I'm really glad that he did it, even though it probably made him a little bit uncomfortable to be the center of attention. He just looked super happy. So that was a lot of fun. Like I said, even though I can do the face painting, he very frequently does not want me to. When we did the fundraiser back on Halloween, I did the face painting at the fundraiser. for our youth group, and what did he want? Batman, which was so easy. Oh, the little Batman mask is simple. So yeah, that was just super fun. So you might have noticed that in the coloring of these items, that they're all kind of like, they don't necessarily go together. The thought behind it was that I would do like, because it's a card set, I would do like a different season. So I picked the unicorn for spring. I picked the s'mores for summer. I picked the foxes for fall, and then the bunny slopes for winter. So that way, if there was actually going to be a recipient of this, we all know that there isn't, because I don't give away cards because I'm a terrible person. Then they would be able to choose, which ones. That's not true. I might give them away. I'm sure I have a friend who can probably use them. What I usually do with them is I just give them to one of the officers that I work with, and then those are the cards he sends to everybody. So he sorts them out, and they're free cards because he's super cheap. Which I laugh to myself, because it's like, if you only knew how much it costs to make a card versus buy a card. But to me, so much more worth it, because you spend all of this time thinking about this person. And so even though I'm terrible at sending them for like birthdays in my own family, Mother's Day, things like that, they usually do get a card from me that I've made. This is the first time that I have ever made a video or posted a card with this unicorn, but I have to tell you that I've colored this unicorn probably no less than 10 times, because when I first got the unicorn, I loved it so much, and nothing's changed. I totally love it. It looks like a My Little Pony. Like, come on. I was born in the 80s. I love My Little Ponies. So I colored it just all different kinds of ways, all different kinds of combinations, rainbow, 2 different color blends. I just love this unicorn. And things like this, which are kind of like, they're not seasonal, they're not specific. You could use this for a birthday card, a get well card, a thank you card. Like, I just love stamps that are so versatile. Just a general, which is how I ended up using it, just a general, like, have a good day kind of situation. But for this one, again, I wanted her, I'm assuming it's a her. I feel like that hair makes her a her, that luxurious hair. But I decided that I wanted it to be white. And if you look, I did use it, but I didn't share it. I used it to make my niece's birthday card, because she loves everything ponies. And I colored like 3 or 4 of them like My Little Ponies. Like, I actually looked up what the My Little Ponies looked like. So you don't have to make them white by any means. One of the ones I did, I think, was purple. No, she was navy blue with like pink and purple hair. It's like a Twilight pony. I don't know. Anyway, and one of them was yellow. I think that was like the candy one. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. Halfway through coloring this unicorn, I changed my mind. So if you want to do the hair one color, okay, do what I'm doing right here. You're going to add the shading coming out from behind the head, from the tips of the hair in. The highlight will be where it's kind of like wrapped around her neck. And then the same thing with her tail. It's going to be where it's coming out from her little tushy there, and then the ends, the highlight will be in the middle. So if you want it to be one color, do this. About halfway through coloring this, I decided that I wanted to switch up the colors to make it a little bit more interesting. I was able to do that because my colors worked so well together. If you were doing this, well, you know what? Most of the time you're probably going to be able to do it, because you're not going to be using 2 colors that don't, like, you're not going to be going from pink to green most of the time, because you'll be worried about getting brown in the middle. But I wanted to go from pink to orange, because again, when I was picking my colors, I wanted them to, it's a card set. Like, I wanted them to look like they went together. So when I did the bunny outfit, I did it in pink and orange. Then the foxes were brown and orange. The s'mores are, all the neutrals. And then I wanted this one to be the orange and pink. So, everybody, like, their backgrounds make them look like they go together, but then also the colors that we chose for the images make them look like they go together. So here, instead of doing all pink, I've decided that I'm going to do the orange from the ends of her hair. And it looks a little crazy right now, but once I start adding in the YR04, you'll see that it's almost the same color as the Y38 on top of the RVs I already had down. So it doesn't look too like it doesn't go, or like that I started with a different color. And then I'm just doing the same thing that I would have done with the pink. I'm using just the tip of my marker, that light flicking motion, and stopping just short of the center where those two colors are going to blend. Because I wasn't really sure that I was, because I guess I didn't know I was doing this. The Y38 is not necessarily going to blend well into the RV02. When you're mixing color families, you want to look at the end number. That's the one that matters. So if you're, blending an RV04 into a YR04, you're solid. You shouldn't have any issues. But the Y38, 8 on the end, and the RV02, they're too far away from each other. Now you could probably do like a Y38 into an RV04, though that would be much closer together and give you a better result. But because it's hair and I'm looking for a little bit more texture anyway, I didn't need it to be a perfect blend. I still think it came out okay. I was originally going to do her horn white, and then I decided I was going to do it pink. I just thought, I don't know. I just thought she should have a pink horn. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a card. I can make it whatever I want it to be. That's part of the fun of making a card. So that one was just like kind of super simple. And then once all of the coloring is done, I will tell you, if you're going to add any detail work with a white gel pen, if you're going to outline your images like I do with the, black, I use a journaling pen, but you could use a Copic multi-liner or whatever. Do it before you do your die cutting, or you're going to be chasing those things around and you're going to be really sad. So I outlined all of my images because that's how I roll. And then I went in and added some detail with a white gel pen. They're not on every one of them. It wasn't necessary on every one of them, but on just a couple of them, I wanted to give this little bunny a pattern, and polka dots is like my go-to, on his hat and his scarf. And then I added a little bit of a highlight to my marshmallows and my chocolate bar. I think that's pretty much all I did with the white gel pen. I added some clear Wink of Stella pretty much to everything, guys. Like, straight up, I love the glitter, so I added that. And then I die cut them and built my card. This video was already super long, so I didn't show you how I built every one of them. But basically, I stamped my sentiment and then popped them up on foam tape. That was pretty much just how I decided to roll it. I think they all came out super cute. I love the little stenciling in the background. It adds some interest but doesn't detract away from any of the images that we were using. Everything will be linked below, and then if you would like to see still shots of these up close, it'll be over on the blog for you to check out. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.